Hey, it's Jeff Zito with another episode of the Celebrity Jobber podcast. All of our past episodes you can check out on celebrityjobber.com. Of course, you can follow us on IG, Celebrity Jobber Podcast. Also, our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/the @celebrityjobber. The story of the legendary Tommy Shaw from the band Styx starts out in Montgomery, Alabama. We'll talk to Tommy about how it all started at a very young age, probably a lot younger than you think. What if music didn't work out for Tommy? Did he have any other careers than music? His first job, or any jobs? His big break? It's all coming up next with our guest Tommy Shaw from Styx on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Hey, Jeff.
Tommy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Are you in Michigan?
No, I'm in Nashville.
Oh, okay. What's going on in Nashville?
That's where we live. We've been here for 10 years.
Oh, really? Okay. And I hear Nashville's booming. Just saw a show about it.
Oh, yes, it is. It's good and it's bad. It's everybody's coming to Nashville, and so a lot of these little places that were just rolling hills, green grass, and railroad tracks are being scraped away, and exits coming off of Highway 65. And I can't blame people. I did it. It's a fantastic place. It's centrally located, and the buses. A lot of the buses start out from here, so. And they come back to here.
Right. Well, it makes sense. For what you do, it makes complete sense because, you were out in Michigan, I'm aware for a while. And and that's beautiful country out there. I went to school up in Michigan. But for being in the music biz, probably a little easier getting around in Nashville. But do you still enjoy some of the same things in Nashville as you did being up in Michigan?
Well, the countryside, there's lots of green grass and rolling hills, and you get winter time here. So it's not that much unlike Michigan. I do love it here. It's the first place I came to when I left my hometown of Montgomery, Alabama. And I hadn't seen snow in years, and it was snowing when I came up here the first time. And so you do get weather here, and you really get a good wintertime and a good summertime.
And I'll tell you one thing you don't get there in Nashville, Tommy, is lake effect snow.
That's right. Mile marker 65.
Well, as you mentioned, growing up in Montgomery, Alabama, it's such a great biography that you have up on your website where it said you got your first paying gig playing guitar and singing for your grandfather on your front porch in Montgomery, Alabama at the age of 5 years old. Can you tell me a little bit about your grandfather and was he obviously a musical guy, but what did he do?
Well, he was retired, and so just for something to do, he would go around to the local newspaper stands, machines, and take the money out and turn it in. So this is a long time ago, so he always had a pocket full of nickels. So he'd walk up and stick his hands in his pocket, and you could hear that money jingling around in there. And I was just this little big-headed kid, but I always loved music, and I could remember it. And there was this song called I don't know the name of it, but the chorus went, "Look, my heart is an open book, and I love nobody but you." My voice was a little higher. So I got paid for singing my first song. So technically, I was professional at that point.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Can you remember, Tommy, did you ever have a job outside of music? Did you ever get paid for anything other than playing guitar and singing?
I had 2 jobs. And between the 2 of them, they lasted about half a day. And the first one, I said, okay, I'm going to be a surveyor. You know, where you go out there and you have that little telescope thing.
Yeah.
So first day, I go, but I take my guitar with me. So I figured on the lunch break, I'll play my guitar. Well, got to lunchtime, went and got in my truck and started playing the guitar, and I lost track of time. And the boss came over and knocked on the window and he pointed like, "You're fired." So got fired from that one. And the second one was a friend. It was during an off time. Styx wasn't on the road, and I just wanted something to do. So a friend in the paper business, he hired me to unload a semi-trailer. And so that was another job that lasted half a day. So that was it for annual.
All right, folks, something very important that I wanted to bring up, which is recipe boredom. It's a real thing, but not anymore since I found HelloFresh. Okay, I don't know about you, but in my world, I eat 5 things: pork, chicken, beef, fish, pasta. Rinse and repeat. After a while, nothing sounds good, but not anymore. That's right. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. So now I'm skipping trips to the grocery store, and I count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. Dig into their biggest menu yet with over 45 dinner options to choose from weekly and even more market add-on items that suit any lifestyle. Delivered right to your door. So if your New Year's resolution is to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all 3. Go to HelloFresh.com/jobberfree and use code JOBBERFREE for free breakfast for life. That's 1 breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. Free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/jobberfree with code JOBBERFREE. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. You know, it's well documented that, from Montgomery, Alabama, you were in a few bands. Can you tell me about the life-changing phone call that you received from Styx? Was that actually that phone call to join the band, your big break, do you think? Quote-unquote big break, or was there another one that you can think of?
Well, the first one was a call. Well, let's see. First of all, Mickey from I'm drawing a blank. Well, the big one was an agent from Chicago. Mickey Thomas came to my house one time in Montgomery and knocked on my door, and he said, "I came all the way from Cairo, Georgia, because I heard about you." And I was like, and he already had some music on the radio. He was playing with Elvin Bishop. And he said, "You should call Bobby Smith in Nashville." They called him Smitty. So I called him, and he said, "Come on up to Nashville. I'm putting the band together, and I want to, build it around you." And I'm thinking, I don't know anything. I need to be in a band where I'm going to learn stuff. But I went anyway, and I got up there, and I couldn't do it, and it didn't feel right because I wasn't experienced enough to lead a band. But while I was there, I went to Printer's Alley in a place called the Electric Circus. There was this huge, loud band on stage with a drummer who was right up front, and they had horns, and they sang high and B3 organ and electric guitar, and my buddy who went up there with me, he went up on their break and asked them if they would let me sit in, and I did, And next thing I know, they were saying, "We're getting ready to go on the road, and we want you to come with us."
Wow.
And I said, "Can I bring my buddy? He's a great person. You know, he's one of these guys who's very gregarious. He'll be very helpful, like a tour manager." And so we went around the country for 2.5 years doing that, and it was like a killer progressive rock band with horns, almost like a Chicago type of band. It was great, but the problem was disco music came and just sort of gutted all of our gigs because nightclub owner just needed a PA system and some lights.
Right.
So that put an end to that band. So I came back to my hometown, and one thing that had happened during that tour was playing at a club in Chicago. Styx's tour manager just happened to be there one night, and he came back and talked to us during our break. And he remembered me when John Serlowski left the band after they'd already released Equinox, and they had a national tour booked. So I left my number listed in Montgomery. I just didn't bother unlisting it. And so he got my number from information and called me up, and he said, you know, I had a gig there at a bowling alley lounge for $200 a week, which was almost 10 times what I'd made with the other band.
Right.
And so I said, I'm making like a couple $100 a week here. I got a house, I got a car. He said, well, let me get you a ticket, because you might make a little bit more if this works out. And so I went and did the audition. They gave me the high note in Lady, which is, and so I'm still singing that to this day. But that's what got me the audition. I played a couple of my original songs, and we wound up using them on the Crystal Ball album.
Wow. It's been a little while since we spoke, probably pre-COVID. And I know for a lot of musicians, especially touring musicians, a lot of guys selling their music catalogs, not being able to go out on the road, and that's such a big part of your life. You had that downtime. It seems like forever ago, but it was only 4 years ago now. Man, I don't even know. But what did you do during that strange time of our lives?
I got good at feeding chickens and our dogs and cat, and working in the studio, and being around the house a lot more than I think I've ever been. And fortunately, my wife Jeannie and I, we actually like each other. I know I like her.
That's strange. That's strange these days.
Yeah, and we're used to spending a lot of time together, and we just kind of divvy up the chores, and many pairs of sweatpants later, and finally starting to emerge and put shoes and socks on.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it became a real time to become a sloth, and I had all these grandiose plans of doing little projects and improvements, and nothing got done. So I'm glad to hear that you kind of were along the same lines here. Yeah,
the thing that kept me going and kept me from becoming a nuisance around here was that we were working on an album, and so my studio's downstairs, and so I spent a lot of time there working on stuff. Willie Vankovich, Styx producer, lives just up the road, so even though we weren't in the same studio, we've worked on the phone and on FaceTime and that sort of thing, and I got so much done here. And eventually, he made it down here, and that's when we started recording. Continuing to record everybody, but this time it was remotely. We'd already been working on the album for a better part of a year, but and touring at the same time.
And of course, got to mention your time with Damn Yankees, a super group. Tommy Shaw from Styx, Jack Blades of Night Ranger, Ted Nugent, some big songs like High Enough and Where You Going Now. How about any chance of you and Blades and Nuge doing some more Damn Yankees?
Well, we never officially broke up, so it wouldn't be a reunion.
Right. Okay. So, but you're not a Yankee.
Well, I could be a damn Yankee. Well, actually, I put my Yankee time in. I lived in Manhattan for 7 years, and I lived in Michigan for 10 years. So I've probably looked like a carpetbagger at the time.
Yeah, you did your time, that's for sure. And let me say, Tommy, Renegades and Jukebox Heroes tour. I know Foreigner came through Tampa, Florida for the quote-unquote last time. It was their farewell tour, but I guess it's hard to say goodbye. So Styx and Foreigner, big tour this summer. You guys aren't thinking about any farewell anytime soon, are you?
No.
Good.
Well, you can go do what?
Right. Exactly. Really excited about it. Thanks so much, Tommy Shaw, for the time this morning.
We'll see you there.
Man, the legendary Tommy Shaw from Styx. He says his very first paying gig was for a nickel, singing for his grandfather on his front porch in Montgomery, Alabama. Well, that's a fun story, but really not his first paying gig. It was as a land surveyor. He said that gig lasted probably for about a half a day. He also had some downtime in Styx and helped out a friend of his unloading paper from a semi-truck, which he said that didn't work out either. It was really not in the cards for Tommy Shaw to do anything else but music. It was at the ripe old age of 4 or 5 years old that he got interested in music. Then the gift that would ultimately change his life, when he was 10 years old, his parents got him that guitar, and it seemed like music was definitely in Tommy Shaw's future from there on in. I thought it was pretty funny how he talked about his one band breaking up that was kind of maybe in the disco era, and his tape was out there, and some guys from Styx who were already kind of established and going on a big tour, they heard of him, they needed him because their guitarist was leaving, and they flew Tommy up to Chicago. The only thing they made him do was sing the high note of Lady, which you just heard Tommy do over the phone, which I thought was pretty cool. That was it. You got the job. Don't you want me to play guitar? No, that was it. It's all I need. We heard your stuff. You're in. Talk about a big break. The legendary Tommy Shaw from the band Styx. You can check out all of our past episodes of Celebrity Jobber up on CelebrityJobber.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Celebrity Jobber Podcast. Also, our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/the@Celebrity Jobber. And don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate a 5-star rating and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. That's a wrap for this week. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, I'm Jeff Zito for the Celebrity Jobber Podcast.